इसमें भी लॉगिन करनी है मैम जूम में।
Very good evening, everyone. So we are waiting for one more minute before we begin. Welcome to MTG Learning Media. So today we have board exam preparation that we will be going through. So we will first understand what is the exam pattern, how you should approach for answering the questions, what is the syllabus that you should cover and how you should cover, what are the strategies, what are the important topics, the weightage wise. So we will start in a while. Meanwhile, we are waiting for one more minute. Let other students also join, and then we will start. Okay, so we have few students joined so far. I would like to ask few questions, okay? I think we are on mute right now. So if you have any question or you want to share anything, you can share it in the chat box. Our team will help you in replying your queries, okay? Okay, so I would like to ask few questions first of all. Could you please tell me which class are you from? So I'm going to ask you few questions. I hope all of you can see it on the screen. Which class are you from, first of all? And have you taken maths basic subject or standard math subject in your class 10th? Which board is followed in your school? Is it CBSE, ICSE, IB, or any other board? Are you aware of MTG Learning Media or have you read any MTG books for your academic requirements? Yes, I can see 70% of students have at least viewed or are aware of MTG books. Very good. That's a good response. So 100%, I can see 100% student as of now, they have taken standard maths. Very good. Okay, so out of 10, 9 students are from class 10th. Very good. So students, you can give yourself applause that you have taken out time to attend this wonderful session. And I'm definite this session is going to be helpful for you. And you will learn a lot of new things, lot of important things that is important for your board exams. Okay. So students, let's start. So to begin with, first of all, I would like to introduce ourselves, who we are. So we are MTG Learning Media. MTG Learning Media Private Limited, and we have been established since 1982. And we are a helping hand for millions of students for their academic excellence and their academic requirements. Our MTG core mission is to equip students with the knowledge and tools which they require to excel in their any competitive exams, be it NEET, JEE, Olympiads, or CBSE exams. We deliver a quality content, be in the form of monthly magazines, competitive books, school textbooks, foundation courses, and online classes. So students, very warm welcome to all of you who have been attending this session, and definitely this session is going to be fruitful for you. Okay, and one more thing, important thing that I hope most of you are aware that MTG is the official academic partner for Science Olympiad Foundation also. So which is the world biggest Olympiad exam undertaking body. There are various content, various books that MTG publishes for CBSE exam and various competitive exams. So some of the helpful books for our class 10th board exams that you can see it on the screen, which has chapter-wise, topic-wise papers that the solutions that you can refer to, you can revise your concepts, and you can always practice anytime, anytime, okay? So I would like to introduce today's session will be taken by our maths expert teacher, Padampriya ma'am, who is with MTG since 8 years. She has been teaching various subjects of maths, Vedic maths, logical reasoning, mental ability, and she has been teaching to Olympiad classes. She has been involved in preparing various content for your exam preparation, be it CBSE, be it Olympiads, be it your competitive exams. So she is a lead trainer for our classes who will be helping you, who will be guiding you how to approach for your board exams to excel, to score more than 95% marks. Okay. So Padampriya ma'am, I'll be handing over to you for a minute, student. So Padampriya ma'am will take over.
Good evening, students. So, welcome to MTG classes for your board preparation. So, as ma'am has introduced just now, I am Padma Priya, and I have been into this field of education from past 18 years, and I have been training children for various board exams, Olympiads, for different other competitive exams. And I've been into the content person for various boards like CBSE, IB, competitive exams, Olympiads, Vedic maths, logical reasoning, and so on. So this is my introduction. So I know that most of you are familiar that your date sheet is out for your board exams. And I think all of you would have gone through your date of mathematics exam also. So you hardly have a buffer of 2 months, because it's around some mid of February when your exams are going to start. So you hardly have 2 months. This is your buffer time. So if you have started your preparation, it's well and good and appreciable. But if you haven't started yet, do not bother. We, our team of MTG, is with you to guide you throughout how to make the complete utilization of this 2 months period to prepare well for your board exams. And we, from our side, we assure you, if you follow the guidelines that we are providing you, how you are supposed to prepare, what is your questions you are going to have. So if you follow all this in a proper way, we definitely assure you that you can score more than 95%. And if you are a student who is below average, you can score more than 70. I don't say that everyone come to the same category of 95. So depending of your scoring level, we can definitely assure you to get much better percentage than what you generally get. And if you haven't started any preparation yet, still do not bother. We are there with you to make your preparation a completely systemized, in a complete systemized scenario. we will take you into various categories of how is the paper going to be, what sort of pattern is going to be applied, what is the weightage for various steps, important pattern questions. We will give you enough practice. You can ask your enough queries with us. So after the end of the 15 sessions, we even give you how to make a planner for your preparation for the leftover time period. That is, you'll be having hardly 20-25 days after the sessions. So to start your board exams. So in that period also, how can you allot time for maths? So we will guide you throughout till you attend your maths paper. So for today, let's start as ma'am has been telling. So we have some of our core books, which I'll be letting you know at the end, how to prepare and all those things. So what are we going to learn in our sessions? Firstly, if you see, here we can see that we will have a complete revision. Since it is prime time, as I can say, and you have enough edgy also for that. So you can have enough preparation. So we will start our revision chapter wise. Every core topic, key concepts will be introduced to you. Then if any important tricks are needed, of course, I understand it is a descriptive exam. It's a board and every point, every step in your solution carries a mark. So now wherever there is a need of some key tricks or key tips to solve out a paper, particular question or the pattern to be followed, there will give you some important tricks also. After that, we will give you enough analyzation. Topic-wise, how to analyze your topics and how to apply it in your exams. That also, we will help you to see that. So overall, you'll be having a complete, planned, systematic way of attending your exams. So this is our timetable for your sessions of 15 sessions in which we will be covering all your chapters. We will be guiding you with your proper planner, practice material, everything with your queries, sessions, everything will be there. So this is how we are covering the topics. Meanwhile, I would say is the chapter which you feel the most difficult and which is the chapter which you feel the most interesting. I want you people to reply it in the chat box form. So now if you are ready for the sessions, so please mention which is your easiest chapter first. All of you will be mentioning your easiest chapter. Good, I could see responses in the chat box. Okay. And we will get ready. And I want you, all of you, to take a note of the concepts, the key concepts that we tell you. And I want you to have a proper practice in the books that we give you, the concepts or the practice questions, whatever it is. And if you have any queries, also you can ask us in the query session. Good to see that many of you find probability the easiest chapter. Of course, you have been learning probability from class 7 and you have the very basic probability. So I could see good responses here. Some have chat to me, to my personal chats, some to the public chats. So if you're not comfortable with the public chat, you can even personally saying that circles is your difficult chapter. Okay. Okay, that's good. So fine. No problem. But however, we have to start everything right from the first chapter. So before I start something, first we will see our question paper pattern. What is going to be our paper pattern? First, let's have a glance at it. So first of all, in every paper of your, either it is a basic paper or a standard paper, you can see certain things to be covered. No problem. Some have multiple topics, difficulties also. All those will be cleared. So do not bother. We will help you out for all those things. Okay, good. So first, let's see the onto the screen. I'm shifting out my concentration to onto the screen. So here you can see. So now if there are people who are concerned to basic and some are concerned with the standard. So these are the two categories of papers that you generally get in your board exams. Here you can see. So out of 80 marks paper that you have, both the categories is 80-mark paper. So in this, remembering and understanding the concept will give you a maximum of 54% score for standard, whereas 75% score for the basics. Simultaneously, what all concepts you learn, if you just apply into simple problem solving, there you get a 24% score of your marks and 15% for the basic. and competency-based questions like analysis type, evaluation, creating, proving. So these are called the basically competency-based type questions. So this will be a bit higher in the standard paper with 22%, that is 80 marks will come under this category, and 10% in the basic with only 8 marks into this category. So overall, what I want to show by the screen is, so where you have lot scope to score, in which category of questions you have lot scope to score, and which category of questions is going to make you feel difficult. This is what I mean to say. So this category of questions, if you want to prepare, either for this 43 marks or for 60 marks, this is going to be a bit easy. If you are very good at with your basic concepts, this you can easily clear it out. This is a cakewalk section for you. And applying, you just need enough practice, not lot more. Your efforts are needed to clear this 18 marks in standard paper and 8 marks in this basic. So these are the only category which you need to work a lot. So let's go into deep into that. When we go to the particular chapters, there also we will study deeper into. So this is how you apply your 80 marks paper. After this, you'll be having your internal assessments, which will be done by your respective maths teachers in your schools. Moving further, how is our question paper pattern going to be? This is what you can see here. Here you can see you'll be having a total of 5 sections. I think all of you are familiar with it. If you have already been practicing your sample papers and all those things, you'll be knowing to this pattern. The first section is completely of MCQ questions, where you'll be having 20 questions with each 1 marking, whereas its weightage percentage is 25%. After that, section B is going to be a very short answers, where you'll be having 5 questions, which leads you a total of 10 marks. Then short answer type, then comes the long answer type. So which will be having 6 questions and 4 questions each. At the end, you will be having case study questions. So case-based questions, where you have 3 case study questions with a question of 4 marks each. And in this also case-based question, you'll be having 3 questions. First 2 questions will be the 1 markers. The third question will be a 2 marker with an internal choice given into it. So this is what going to be our question paper pattern. Moving further, if you see, here we have chapter-wise weightage. So what are your core chapters? Just now I've been seeing in the chat box, I have many chats still in my chat box to be read. So some feel trigonometry to be difficult. Some feel, surface areas and volumes to be difficult. Do not bother. All your hurdles will be cleared in 15 sessions. In your respective chapters, we'll give you how you can come out of the difficulties that you are facing in that particular chapter. So here you can see we have totally 7 categories of topics like number system, algebra, coordinate geometry, trigonometry, mensurations, and last comes the statistics and probability, where your various 15 chapters are being categorized into these 7 parts. And you can even see the weightage of these chapters also. Like you can see real numbers. The very first chapter has a weightage of 6 marks, whereas algebra, which leads into many core chapters, which gives you a complete weightage of 20 marks. The coordinate geometry is again it as one of the difficult topics of mathematics. No. Geometry is never the difficult topic of mathematics. It is like that because you feel that you are not able to visualize the picture or the content given related to the picture. So in these sessions, we will help you how to visualize geometry. If you are able to visualize geometry around yourselves, then geometry is the most beautiful thing. And this is one such topics which help you to improve your visualization. Moving further, trigonometry. One of the vast topics which will be covering in your class 11 and 12. So all the foundation of those will be covered in this trigonometry here, which has a weightage of 12 marks for 2 chapters. And here you can see 15 marks for 2 geometry chapters. So 4 chapters are this. Moving further, volumes and surface area and areas related to circles again has 10 multiplications. So the rest also can be made such easy for you. So if you just follow the method and the ideology that I suggest you in these sessions. So first and foremost, we are supposed to start with our first chapter, which is real numbers. I know that many of you don't feel real numbers as prioritized because real numbers is one such chapter, because you have what all you have in this chapter is just the basics of which you have learned about numbers till class 9. So, but we have to start with the first chapter. So here we have. So when you look into the topics of this chapter, here you can see you have two main topics in this. One is the fundamental theorem of mathematics. The other one is revisiting irrational numbers. So these are the two core topics. And in this, if you see, your maximum scoring topic is fundamental theorem of arithmetics, the 1.2 topic. Why? Because this is a topic where you will be covering your prime factorization, HCF, LCMs, on all those things, factorizing concepts, everything will be covered in this. So this is a previous knowledge which you have been carrying right from class 4 onwards about prime numbers, composite numbers, prime factorization, LCM, HCF. So this is a topic which covers all the types of questions like MCQs, very short answers, short answer type, everything will be covered in this category. So maximum scoring of this will be from this topic. As I've already mentioned, this chapter has a weightage of 6 marks. Total all weightage of this chapter is 6 marks. In this is the core concept which is covered. After this, we have irrational numbers revisiting, where you'll be getting a long answer type or short answer type category of second category. So this is the next category of questions. So first, let's have a quick review of these chapters, content. So here we go with it. First one is fundamental theorem of arithmetic. So start making noting of your basic key concepts of the chapter. Here you go with the first one. So the fundamental theorem of arithmetic, what does it state? States that every composite number can be expressed as a product of primes and its factorization is unique, apart from the order in which these prime factors occur. This is known as unique prime factorization theorem. So there's another name for this also, that is unique factorizing theorem. So this is a simple statement. And what does it mean? I'll just tell you in simple words. Like you have a number called 18. You know how to prime factorize it, all of you. Either you can use the tree method or you can use the division method. So when you factorize it, you can write it as 2 into 3 into 3. Some write it as 3 into 2 into 3. Whatever the way you are writing it as 2 power 1 and 2 3 square. So every composite number, whenever you choose a composite number, you can make a factorization of it. What is the meaning of factorization? Applying it as a product of prime numbers. All of you are familiar with it. And this could be done only in a unique way. Either you do it in this method or in this method. Ultimately, you are getting it as the prime number 2 used for 1 time and the prime number 3 used it for 2 times. So this is the ultimate thing that you are observing. So any composite number, if you prime factorize, it will have a unique factorization pattern. At the end, the result is going to be unique. You will not have multiple ways. Ways could be very differently. How you are arranging the prime numbers, order could be different. But the ultimate simple thing about fundamental theorem of arithmetic. It basically talks about prime factorization of composite numbers. So here is an example presented to you. 840 is a number. So if you factorize it, you can see that you have 2's for 3 times in it, followed with a 5, 3, and 7. Moving further, LCM and HCF. So this is one such particular concept. Many have an idea, like there are various methods of doing this. I do understand. Some do it by short division, some do by common division, some do by long division. So there are various methods of doing it. But in class 10, we are not concerned of how we are doing it, but we are using the ultimate prime factorization concept, that is the fundamental theorem which we have learned so far. We will use that in finding the LCM and HCF of our given numbers. That is what our purpose is. So when you talk about HCF, using this concept of prime factorization, what we have just now learned, using the concept of prime factorization, how can we define HCF is the product of the smallest powers So what all the numbers are there? For every prime factor, you will be choosing a smallest power among all the powers of each common prime called in the number. So like you have chosen three numbers. So you choose two factors, lowest power form if you consider and you multiply, that is going to be the HCF of the numbers. Similarly, if you move further, we have LCM. LCM is a quite opposite to HCF. How do we do? In LCM, we choose the greatest power of the prime factor. Every prime factor's greatest power will be chosen. And how do we do that? See here. Here is an example. Like I have two numbers with me, which is 450, which is prime factorized 2 into 3 square into 5 square. Whereas 756 is another number of mine, which is prime factorized as 2 square into 3 cube into 7. Now, if you want to find the HCF of these numbers, what will we do? If you want the HCF of this, I am supposed to choose the lowest power of every common prime factor. So, if I want my HCF, so here you can see, if I want my HCF, what will I do? What is the common prime factors in this? 2. I have 2 also in this. 3. I have 3 also in this. So these are the common prime factors. And what is the lowest powers that I should consider? Now, the lowest power of 2, you can see here, it is 2 power 1. Whereas the lowest power of 3, you can see it is 3 square. So if you multiply it, it is 18. So the HCF of these numbers is nothing but the lowest power of the prime factors in the prime factorization of the given numbers. Simultaneously, if you look into its HCF, LCM. It's LCM. If you wanted to find it out, how will we do it? So LCM is nothing but highest power of the common factor, prime factors it has. Here, in the case of LCM, we don't look for common factors. In this HCF only, we look for prime common factors. But here, we take up every factor. Like, what is the highest power of 2 in this? 2 square. What is the highest power of 3 in this? 3 cube. What is the highest power of 5? 5 square. What is the highest power of 7? 7. So likewise, when you talk about HCF, be careful. We are looking only at the common prime factors. But whereas in the case of LCM, we are looking at every prime factor. And ultimately, if you make a product of it, that is going to be an LCM. So, how are we using the fundamental theorem of arithmetics in finding LCM and HCF? Is your second part. So, which is again going around of the prime factorization. Moving to our next topic, relation between LCM and HCF. So, when you talk about relation between LCM and HCF, all of you would be knowing it for 2 numbers. Since you are in grade 10, we will extend it for 3 numbers also. So, if A and B are any 2 positive integers, then there is always a relation between their LCM and HCF. What is it? Always remember the basic relation between the 2 numbers and their LCM and HCF is HCF and LCM of those 2 numbers, if you multiply, that will be the same as the product of the 2 numbers. So this is the basic relation between LCM and HCF. This, how can you deduce to find one of the missing quantity? Like for suppose if your HCF is missing, then divide the product of numbers by LCM. If LCM is missing, divide the product of numbers by HCF. So this is how we do this. Here, if the same concept of LCM and HCF is needed for 3 numbers by common relation, and here are the shortcut formulas that we have. HCF of 3 numbers, if you want, you just need to multiply the 3 numbers with their LCM and divide it with the LCM of every 2 numbers by the product. Same way here you have the formula for LCM of 3. Always remember, just now I have written, if A and B are any 2 numbers, A into B is same as their HCF into LCM I have written. This is applied only for the case of 2 positive integers. But for the case of 3 positive integers, it is not applied. So you should be very careful with it. You can't apply the product of 3 numbers as their LCM and HCF product. That's the very important point to remember. And last but not the least important topic concept of this chapter, if you observe, here you can see, as I've said you, this revisiting of irrational numbers is a concept where you'll be getting your short answer type and your long answer type questions. So this concept is all about understanding irrational numbers, which you'll be learning in your class 9 also. It will be extended here. So any number which is not rational is irrational. It's a quite simple as that to understand. Something which is cannot be represented in the form of P by Q, that is nothing but irrational numbers. Moving further, this is the very important condition always that you need to remember. Any question on these irrational numbers, if you are attending on your short answer type or in long answer type, basically it will be 90% it will be on this one. What is this concept? If P is a prime number which is dividing a perfect square, then P will divide the number also. Now, for example, there is a number called, let me take it as 15 square. This is my number. I mean, 15 is my A. I have a number 15. Now I'm squaring it, which becomes 15 square. Now I'm choosing a prime number. Let my prime number be some 3. Now when 3 is able to divide this 15 square, that is 15 square is a multiple of 3. If 15 square is a multiple of 3, then automatically 15 also will divide, 15 also will be divisible by 3, or 15 also will be the multiple of 3. That is what the simple statement. It's a very simple logic. If a perfect square is getting divisible by a prime number, or a square of a number is getting divisible by a prime number, then the number also will be divisible by that prime number. Such a simple thing is this. Again, I tell you, choose out any composite number. Like, let me take out a composite number called 35. 35 square is divisible by 7. Then automatically 35 also will be divisible by 7. This is what this statement is. It's as simple as that. However, the statement may look weird or you may feel it something difficult to learn, but you have nothing to prove over it. You just need to understand and apply it over the questions that we saw. And as I've been telling you, most of the questions of this topic belong to this category. So if you are able to solve one question of this type of category, so you'll be hardly having 3 marks or 4 marks into your pocket. So, I mean, if it is a long answer type, we'll be having 5 marks also. So depending on it. So shall we start looking into certain questions of which type of questions are generally asked from this chapter into your board exams? So are you ready for it? Yes. So I just wanted to know how many of you are following the class much better? Can I just find your responses in the chat box? Good. Very nice to see. So now let's see your basic questions. I don't think there's any delay from my side here. Some of you find it a delay in your video being presenting to you, but I am sure that my internet connection is pretty good. So because I could see the instant responses and we as a team are here together so that we see that all the things are provided to you on time. Fine, let's move further. Here we have, I just show you a simple question where you can understand how every step is valuable to you. I don't say that write the step the way I write it for you. Today, I'll teach you a question in 2 methods. Okay. First, I'll write it in my own sentences. Then I'll show you how can you write it by the on-screen way. So you can understand how every step is important. Let's see one of the 5 marks question, like as I've been talking to you, revisiting irrational numbers. I want to prove root 5 is an irrational number. How can I prove it or how can I show it? You can say Ma'am, the number which is inside it is a 5. It's a prime number. So when you root it, you can't do it. So it is irrational. But we can say just like that. We have to prove it, right? So guys, here I tell you one simple technique that we do. It's a first class. So we prefer to be slow because we don't want to hurry up every child to be so fast in the very first session. As it's have a lot of intro and we are waiting for some more children also. Some are joining late. So we don't want to speed up. That's why we are in the slow phase. So we do cover it out things in a proper way. So do not bother if someone is having a difficulty of things going slow. So everything will be managed. So first session, we don't want to hurry up with anyone because some are entering late also. For them sake, we are going out things with slow. First, let us see. Now, this is a statement which cannot be directly proved as you prove your theorems in your geometry. So what can we do for that? Now, there is two methods of proving something. Now, for suppose, think that if you say that I'm a science teacher, for suppose, think that someone say that Padma Priya ma'am is a science teacher. So how will you prove that? I should know something concepts of science. So you'll be taking certain examples. You'll be asking me whether if I'm able to answer it, all those things, I'm a science person. If not, I'm not. So this is the way you do it. So you take out certain examples to prove whether things is being applicable to the statement what is being asked or not. But that cannot be done for all those things. Certain things could be done by a standard method of what we already know. So this is the called as direct method of proving. Like we have certain basic statements with us. Using that basic statements, we prove something whether it is right or wrong. That is a basic method. If that is not there, we will prove it indirectly. Here also, I can't prove that root 5 is irrational directly. Anyway, I can't prove it. I know about rational numbers, I know about integers, fractions, many things I know. But I can't prove it directly that this is irrational. So what will I do is, I will take this as rational. I will assume it. I will assume it as rational. Now, if root 5 is rational number, so first I'm assuming, what is my assumption? I will consider, so my assumption is, let this root 5 be rational. So I'm showing you the steps, how are you supposed to solve the question? My perception is to explain you the question, simultaneously make you know how to write your steps in your own words. Okay? I don't ask you to read out the steps continuously and write it in your board exam because every step has a weightage. I'll tell you how can you make your own steps. Let root 5 be a rational number. This is what my assumption is. Because I want to prove it as irrational, I can't prove it directly. So I'm taking it as an assumption that it is a rational number. Now, once it is a rational number, we know the definition of rational number. That every number will be represented in the form of P by Q. This is what known to all of us. And what are this P and Q? Definitely Q should not be 0 and P and Q should be co-primes. So this is a basic definition of rational number. So now I made root 5 as a rational number. You can see that. I've equated root 5 to P by Q. Now, as per my logic, if I multiply it, I can write it as P is equals to root 5 times Q. But this root symbol, which is there, it's irritating me. I don't like these roots into my answers. So what will I do is, I will square it on both sides. When I square it, what happens? It becomes like this. So I will write P square is equals to 5 times Q square. I'm able to write P square is 5 times Q square. Here, if you observe something, the very first concept we have studied, what is it? Fundamental theorem of arithmetics. After that, one more important theorem we have studied. What is it? In rational numbers. If a square number is divided by a prime number, then that number is also divisible by that prime number. Here you can see the second theorem statement which I have said you in revisiting irrational numbers, that is there here. P square is a perfect square. This is represented as 5 times Q square. What is Q? I don't know. Forget about it. But 5 is a prime. 5 is my prime number. So, from this, what can you understand is, P square is a number which is divisible by prime 5 here. So, P square is divisible by 5. Then automatically, here I can write 5 divides P square. When 5 is dividing P square, automatically I will say 5 will divide P also. See how simple is this? I just took one assumption. Basing on the assumption, I equated it to P by Q. When I'm solving it, I'm getting irritated by that square root. So I'm removing that square root by squaring it on both sides. Once I square it on both sides, I made a new statement that 5 is dividing P. I made a new observation. This is what I observed here. Now, when 5 is a factor of P, I can write P is equals to some 5A. Because 5 is a factor of P, then that 5, if I multiply with some number, integer, positive integer, I get that P. Here, A is a positive integer. Now, if I square it again, what will I get? P square is equals to 25A square I get. But I already have a condition here that P square is nothing but 5 into Q square. That I will use here. So 5 into Q square is nothing but 25A square. You can ask me, why should I use? You are supposed to use because in your assumption, you have taken two positive integers which are P and Q. You are doing everything on P. Won't Q cry? Alright? Q is not used by me. No one is using me. Q is crying. So I'm using Q also. So how am I using? By equating it here. By equating it here, I'm using it. So here you can see, if I solve this, I'll get Q square is equals to 5A square. Now again, I came back to this type of statement. What is it? 5 divides Q square. Then automatically 5 divides Q. I went around. I came to one simple conclusion. What is it? What did I start with? Assuming root 5 as a rational number, making it in the P by phi Q form. By removing the square root, I concluded that P is divisible by 5. Using this logic, I came to another conclusion that Q is also divisible by 5. That is, both P and Q are having 5 as their common factor. This is what the conclusion I got. By moving around all this scenario, I came to these two conclusions. But initially, what is my rule of prime number, rational numbers? P and Q are co-primes. That is, they have no common factor other than 1. Co-prime says HCF should be always 1. But here, 5 is their common factor. How could it be possible? What I started is contradicting with what I am now. Like initially I told as a science teacher. But when you're asking my questions on science, I'm not able to answer. So what I said is contradicting with because I'm not able to answer it. Same thing is happening here also. Rational number I have said, but it is contradicting with the definition of a rational number. Why is it contradicting? Because my assumption is wrong. Once my assumption is wrong, automatically I should accept that root 5 is rational. Sorry, root 5 is irrational. So this is what the simple logic hidden inside solving this question. This is how you should understand the question to solve it step by step. Now you may ask me, what is the weightage of marks for this question? See, I didn't use any logic. I didn't by heart anything. I just wrote step by step by making you explain how can I relate with the basic concept of theorem that we have irrational number. So you can solve it. Now let's see the weightage of marks into the various steps in solving this question. So see, you can see the same question is being solved here on screen. Now we will see the weightage of marks for various steps here. Initially, for your assumption, if you consider this as a short answer type question, here you will be having 3 marks for this. So if it is a 3-mark question, what will be the cases? For your assumption, you'll be getting a half mark. First, you should know that you should assume, because there is no other way of proving this. By assuming it as not an irrational number, only we can solve this. So for your assumption, saying that you are going on the right track, you'll be getting half mark for it. Now, basing on your assumptions, if you move further to relate the part of Q and P and Q with the various values of 5 and its 5 square, you'll get 1 mark. Where you are proving that 5 can divide P. Up to here, you are able to get 1 mark. Later, for proving that 5 can also divide Q. You are getting 1 more mark. But your second statement and the third statement is contradicting with your assumption. So with this contradiction, you are concluding that root 5 is irrational. For your conclusion, you are getting half mark. So your assumption is giving you half mark. Your conclusion is giving you half mark. Your 2 parts of calculation is giving you 1 mark each. So this is how you have been scored for the question. Okay. So thanks for your feedback, Shulan. I really appreciate that. I could see that many of you are active in the class and many have been sending your personal messages to my personal chat. It's very good. And it's even a very good boost for all of us that we could work teamly to give you much more better concepts in a better way so that we help you to crack out your board exams in an easy way. So let's move further. Let's see some more questions. So here we have, let's see one more question here on the same concept. Here you have 7 plus 3 root 2. Again, I have to prove this as irrational. But this is a combination of rational and irrational numbers. Now, how can I prove this as irrational? Excuse me. Now, in this case, you can observe, they already gave us a condition that root 2 is irrational. So in this, there is a root 2 part, which is already an irrational with us. But once this root 2, if it is combined with the rational forms by multiplication and addition, still it stays back as an irrational number that we have to prove. Okay. How can we prove it? Now again, let us consider this also by our assumption that 7 plus... So if you consider 7 plus 3 root 2, if it is not irrational, let us make the same assumption again. So I will consider 7 plus 3 root 2 as some rational number a by b. Again, I'm doing the same assumptions. Whenever you want to work out anything on irrational numbers, you are supposed to blindly go with the assumption that they are not irrational numbers. Okay. So next, here, if you observe what all rational parts are there, I will take to the other side. Again, remember here, A and B are co-primes. Whenever you talk about rational form, the numerator and denominator must and should be co-primes to each other. That is the basic. Now, what all, here I have a rational form. These both are also rational numbers. So I will try to group all the rational numbers. Like whenever we have a group of people, like you have different people, they group up themselves by their common similarities. Same way, here also, the 7 and 3 are saying, I am also rational. So I don't want to stay with this 2, which is irrational. I'll come back to you, to A and B. So 7 and 3 want to go to A and B. So how will it move? Let us see. So root 3 root 2, if you make it, it is A by B minus 7. Now 3 also doesn't want to stay here because it is rational. So 3 also want to jump to the right side. So it becomes 1 by 3 times A by B minus 7. Now see, here you can observe all the rational numbers are grouped. They made a party. They made a grouping. So we don't want to be with it rational. We want to group together. So they grouped all the together. Now, you know that in rational numbers, say that you add, multiply, divide, whatever you do, you are getting a rational number. So here you see, A by B minus 7 will lead to a rational number when multiplied with 1 by 3 again. This is completely a rational part. On the left side, you have an irrational part. How can this happen? How can this happen? It can never happen. A rational part being equal to irrational part can never happen. So, this is again a contradiction that we have. Why did we get to this contradiction? Because our assumption is wrong. Because our assumption is wrong, you can come to a conclusion that 7 plus 3 root 2 is irrational. So, this is how we do it. I could see some of you are very excited to ask your doubts, but we request you to give some time. At the end of the session, we will give you scope to ask out your doubts. If you have any doubts, you want me to go back to a particular concept and explain, again, I'm ready to do. But hope you understand because it is a live session. There are many people in the group. We don't want to disturb the flow of the content. So at the end, we'll come back and clear your doubts. So you do not feel that your messages are not reaching me. I could see everybody's message here, but as per the time constraint and not distracting the other people from the flow of the content, I'm not able to answer everybody's messages at the same time. So hope you understand. But we request, and I appreciate you for your patience that you're still waiting for my response. We will for sure answer all your queries at the end of the session. So either it could be on the particular concept or whatever the schedules that we are giving, all your queries will be cleared, but have a bit patience and please stay with us. So as I've been explaining, this question again can be solved by the assumption method of considering it as rational number, and we contradict with our assumption, giving it to be an irrational number. Here you can see. So again, here also, for your assumption, there is a weightage of marks. So for your assumption category, you'll be getting certain marks, depending on the marks of the question. And again, for your solving method, you'll be getting 1 mark. And again, for your contradiction, you'll be getting a mark. So depending on the weightage of the question, the marks will be categorized to various cases like this. Now see, writing a descriptive question is no way difficult. You should know what is your mind, that you should put it on the paper. That's it. Some may put an implies, some may put a so, some may put a then. Whatever the way you're writing is not important. What is in your mind, the sequence of flow should be into your steps. Some may write a simple calculation in 2 steps. Some may write it in 3 steps. Either you write it in 2 steps or 3 steps, your marking for that particular part of the question is going to be the same. So that is okay. Now let's see one more question. So we have been visiting the irrational numbers a lot. So let's move further away from irrational numbers. Let's see something else. Let's look into the short answer, very short answer type, MCQ questions, assertion reasoning, such type of questions. How will it be? Let's have a look at that. Here you see. Now I have 2 positive integers. Sorry, excuse me. This is A and B. So, sorry, 1 second, not A and B. It's P and Q. So I have 2 positive integers P and Q, whose values are given as 24A square B cube and 20A cube B. Now what are A and B here? A and B are 2 coprimes. Now I have to find the LCM and HCF of these numbers. If I want to find the LCM and HCF, what is the core thing that I've been telling you when we are doing the key concepts? I told you, whenever you want to find the LCM and HCF of the numbers, whatever is given to you, you have to apply the concept of prime factorization. That is the only method applied in class 10. Because here you have variables, constants as well. So what is the only method of applying prime factorization, HCF and LCM is prime factorization. So now if I want to do this prime factorization, I should do it for every number. So I'll do it for P first. So can anyone tell me what would be the prime factorization of P here? What could be the prime factors of 24? Anyone? Good. Very nice. Yes. Yes. So yes, absolutely right. So here 24 could be factorized as 2 cube into 3 and the rest as A square to B cube. And be careful, prime factorization involves only prime numbers. You can't make it as 2 into 12. This is not prime factorization. 12 is not a prime number. You can't make it that. You have to make it as a product of only primes. Then only you call it as prime factorization. Same way, Q. 20, how can I prime factorize it? Yes, very good. Good. Very good responses. Before I ask, you are telling me the prime factorization of 20 also. Very good to see that. I can factorize it as 2 square into 5 and the rest A cube into B will be as it is. So this is how I do it. So I made the prime factorization of P and Q. And what is the definition of finding LCM and HCF? I gave you a simple trick. What was that? For HCF, pick the lowest power of common factors. For LCM, pick out all the factors, highest power. So let's write the HCF and LCM first. So here you can see. How will I write the LCM and HCF? So HCF, if I want, what are the Common prime factors, here I have 2, here also I have 2. Here I have A, here also B and B. 3 and 5 are not common, so I'm not going to with that. Now, what is the lowest power of 2? 2 square. What is the lowest power of A? A square. What is the lowest power of B? B. So, 2 square into A square into B, which I can write it as 4A square B. So, how will you write it? 4A square B is the HCF of this 2. Now, while coming to LCM, how can the LCM of these numbers be? I said, pick out the highest power. What is the highest power of 2? 2 cube. In this case, we don't use common factors. We use all the factors. So here we apply only common factors. Remember this concept, children. This basic tricks and tips, if you remember, solving is easy. For HCF, we pick common factors. For LCM, all factors we pick. So 2 cube, then 3 will be as it is, 5 will be as it is. And what is the highest power of A cube, and B's highest power is B cube. So this is how you get it. So this is nothing but 120 A cube B cube. This is the LCM of these 2 numbers. Very good, very good. So I could see many children answering. Sorry, I couldn't read out all the numbers, but I could read the names of the last 3 children who have recently sent me the answers. It is Aran and Pushpit. So if these are the children who have been sending me the answers simultaneously whenever I ask you, so good. And I would like to see the rest children also answering in the chat box. So here you can see the same numbers have been factorized. So now for suppose, so here if you, 1 second children. Here you can see that these numbers, I have prime factorized P and Q, and I am finding that LCM and HCF this one. So moving further, we'll see one more question pattern. There are 2 numbers. This is one of the interesting questions, actually. So this is something where you need to think a lot. This is a competency-based question, basically. Product of 2 numbers is given with us. HCF is also given with us. And the number of pairs of possibilities of such numbers is. Now, for example, if they ask you the general LCM, you can just simply do it this way. Because you have the product of 2 numbers, 6336, by the HCF, if you divide, you'll get the LCM. This is a very simple question which a class 6 student also can do. This is not about finding the LCM. Now, what are the different kinds of numbers that you can have whose product is this one and HCF is this one? That is a question. Now, what do I need to do? So in these cases, I'll tell you how can you visualize your solving. Okay, let's see. I don't know what are my numbers, but I know their HCF. What is the meaning of HCF? That is the highest common factor. So apart from this, whatever the factors are there, they are co-primes. Like A and B are 2 numbers which are co-primes, you think. Now, for this co-prime, if I multiply 12, and for this B also, if I multiply 12, I'll get 2 numbers. Now I am having 2 numbers, which is 12A and 12B. What are these numbers? These are the numbers whose HCF is 12. Once their HCF is 12, they already said the product of these numbers is 6336. What is the product of these numbers? 6336. Now, 6336, if I divide with this 12, which is on the left side, like what do I have here? I have A into B. This 12 into 12, I take it to the right side. 6336. If I divide with 12 into 12, what will I get? So if I divide it, can anyone tell me? Let me see who will be the fastest to answer. 6336 when divided by 144. Very good, Pratik. Pratik is the first person to send me the answer, followed by Pushti and then Aaron. Very good, very good. And I have many answers, but I could read only the first 3 answers. So 44 is the right answer. So I have 2 numbers who have 44 as a product. Why didn't I take 12 as a common factor? Because HCF of two numbers. Now, for example, let us consider a number of 48 and 36. What is the HCF of this both? The HCF of this both is 12. So I can write it as 12 into 4, 12 into 3. So once I make the HCF and the rest product, you can see the rest product 2, 4 and 3 are co-primes. Same logic I used here also. I have two numbers whose HCF is 12. So I wrote the two numbers as 12A and 12B. Now that product is given. Now I am able to understand there are two co-primes with me whose product is 44. Now, how many pairs will be coming like that? Let us see. 44. What is the way that I can factorize 44? 1 into 44, 2 into 22, 4 into 11. This is the way how can I factorize 44. Other than this, I can't make it because it is such a number. Now, in this, I should make these two numbers which are taken as A and B as co-primes. Here you see, 1 and 44 are co-primes. Okay. 2 and 22 are co-primes? No. So, I can't pick this. Whereas 11 and 4 are again co-primes. So, I can take two values for A and B, two pairs of values, which is 1 and 44. A and B can take two pairs of values, which is 1, 44 and whereas 4, 11. These are the two pairs of values that I take. In this, our perception is finding those how many pairs of numbers are there. Already we got our answer. Our answer is 2 pairs. But what are those numbers if you want to know? You just need to multiply them with their HCF because 12A and 12B are our numbers. So 12 into 1, 12 into 44 is one pair of numbers. Same way, 12 into 4 and 12 into 11 is the other pair of numbers. So these are the two pairs that we get. These are the product of A and B. 44 is the product of A and B, which are co-primes. A and B are a factors of the two numbers. 12A and 12B are the numbers. This is leading to a product of 6336. A and B is not leading to a product of 6336. 12A and 12B is leading to a product of 6336. Now again here, whatever the values you got for A and B, this both you multiply and check, you'll get 6336. Okay. So here is how you solve this question. And here we got two pairs. So our answer is going to be option B. So as I've said, you get two pairs for solving this question. Hope all of you are following it. So here's one more question for you. Let's look at this. Here, what do we have? This is also one more important pattern. I am supposed to say this both are composite numbers. Why are they composite? Now, we can't say 2 into 3 into 5. I multiply 30 plus 5. 35 is composite because it is 7 times 5. You can't do it. That is the childish way of explaining things because you are making things into a bigger number and again splitting that bigger number into factors, then telling whether it is prime or composite. It's not sensible. With the knowledge of our prime factorization, we should be able to say that the number is directly prime or composite without making it into a bigger single number. How can we do that? By making it as 35, anyone can say, but our purpose is not that. Just by keeping the way it is, without making it into a single value, we are supposed to decide. So see here, how can I make 2 into 3 into 5 plus 5 is my number. If you observe factorization, distributive property, if you observe, here I can make it as 5 as 5 into 1. Now, in this part and in this part, I have 5 as a common thing. So by applying the distributive property, I can write it as 5 times of 2 into 3 plus 1. I have used the distributive property. Now here, if you observe, this number, I am making it as a product of, this is some number which is given to me. Any number which could be represented as a product of two different numbers is always a composite. 5 is one factor, 2 into 3 plus 1, which is 7, is another factor. So, I'm able to represent my given number without making it a single value as a product of two different factors, concluding it to be composite. Same way, let's see the other number which is given here. Here you can see 5 into 7 into 11 plus 7 into 5. Again, you can see 5 and 7 are common in this both. So make this one extra for your understanding. Use a distributive property. You will get it as 5 into 7 into 11 plus 1. So you have again able to represent the second number also as a product of 3 different numbers. So definitely this also should be a composite. No doubt in it. So what is given? We used it as it is. We didn't make it into larger number by using all our knowledge of multiplication tables. We didn't do that. What we did is we visualized our answer inside it. How whatever the common parts are there, we have taken it separately. We have seen it as a product of different factors, concluding it to be composite. This is how we did. Okay. So this is how we can solve this question here. Again, if it is a 2-mark question, for the first part, you'll be getting 1 mark. And for the second number proving, you'll be getting 1 mark. So likewise, you'll get 2 marks for this. So this category gives you 1 mark. And for proving the second number, you'll get 1 more. Totally, you'll get 2 marks for this. So I've been explaining so long, so many different types of questions for you. Now, I would like to see your responses. To what extent you are understanding, to what extent you are clear with the things. So I'll give you a few questions for you. So start doing with it. So here I have 2 numbers whose HCF is given to you. I want their LCM. It is a very short answer type question because you know the relation between their LCM and HCF of 2 numbers. So I've given you the trick of how to solve it also. So solve it and send me your answers in the chat box. Let me see how many all will be going to send me the right answer. Okay. Yes, 396 and 270 are the 2 numbers. Yes, absolutely found. Perfect, perfect. And some have gone wrong with your typos. Manasvi, need to check you had a typo error. All the rest are right. I could see my answers are going right with Pushti, Pratik. Manasvi has changed her answer. Good. Mayank, very good. So there are many right answers. Appreciated. So yes, there are still many more, but I couldn't read out all those names. Sorry. I just prefer reading out the top 2 names because we have a complete session to complete. So within our time, already we are running out of time. So that's why I don't read out all those names. But sorry that I couldn't do it. But I see that I could read everybody's name. So here you can see the 2 numbers are 396 and 270. Now, if you divide their product by their HCF, you will get their LCM, which is 594C. So this is as simple as this. This is a very short answer type question, or it could be an MCQ also. So let's see one more question. Here you go. You have to prove root 7 minus 2 root 3 is irrational. So how can we do this? So it is a long answer type question or a short answer type question. So it could be for 3 marks or it could be for 5 marks, depending on where it is given. So I don't ask you to solve out everything in the chat box. Just tell me, how can I do this? Give me what should I do? What should be my initial step for doing this question? Type it out in your chat box. What is our assumption? Very good, Aaron. Aaron is the first to send me the answer. We have to assume. What should I assume? Very good, Priyadarshini. We have to do the contradictory method. Yes, yes, yes. Many people have said it right. Very good. I have to assume this as a rational number and solve it. So I've been telling you so far. So root 7, whatever the number we have to prove it as irrational. I have to assume it as equal to some rational. Now, again, I have to square this on both sides. After squaring it, I have to solve this one by one part. Then I'll be concluding it at one stage where my rational and irrational are facing each other, which leads it to be a contradiction, assuming it to be irrational again. I mean, confirming it to be irrational again. Very good. Beautiful answers, many of you. Very good. Very good. Excellent. So moving further, here you have the third question. I want the HCF of these three numbers, 30, 72, and 432. You have your options also. So this is an MCQ type question. Yes, yes, very good. So meanwhile, you solve your answers. Let me read out how many people have given the right answer for the previous question. So I started with Aaron was the first. Then we have Priyadarshini and Pushti, Mayank, Darshini, Aaron, Udan, Manasvi, Arna, very good, very good. Many of you have given you right answers. Excellent. There are still many more scrolling down. Okay. I got answers for this question also. So far, all the answers are right. Very good. Excellent. And Pari was also there who was answering it. And I would like to see all the other children also. Dharani, perfect. Excellent, excellent. There are still many more children like Jatin, Shubham, Ustad, Sailesh, Rayan. So there are many more. So what have you been learning? If you responded, then only we can see whether to what extent you are learning. So yes, very good, very good. Perfect answers. All the answers are right. It is option C. So if you do the prime factorization and solve this question, you can see that the only common factor occurring for these three numbers will be 2 and 3. So 2 into 3 is 6. So good. So this bit of jealousiness is very much important in the class because why? Ma'am is calling out other names. Why can't ours? So when he started answering in that way also here I could see beautiful. So good. Good sport. So here you go with one more question. Find the HCF of these two numbers and quickly send me back into your chat box. I'm waiting for your responses. You know what? The most happiest thing that a teacher feel in a class is when the children start responding. The more responses you give, the more happy I am. You may be getting your energy by drinking some protein shakes. I get my energy by looking into your responses. Very good, very good. Excellent. Good going, good going. Priyadarshini, please check your answer, dear. The rest all are right. Manasvi was the first to send the right answer. Very good, Manasvi. You have picked up your speed a lot. Very good. So I have many answers in my chat box. Oh, Pratik has sent me the complete explanation of the answer also. Very good, Pratik. Good, good, good. Yes, all your answers are absolutely right. It is 18. When I factorize it, yes, yes. All your answers are perfectly correct. It is 18. So I can factorize it as 18 into 5 and 18 into 7. So the two numbers, when you prime factorize it, and you'll be getting it as 90 is nothing but 2 into 3 square into 5, whereas 126 will be factorized as 2 into 3 square into 7. So obviously the HCF is 18. Very good, very good. So the last question, after this, I'll be giving you some practice questions also. I'll be clearing your doubts also. But the question answer timer will be ending up with this question. So this is a long answer type question. Decide whether you are supposed to do the HCF or LCM in this. And then solve it and send me the answer. Good, good, very good. No, Arana, we have to do LCM. Yes, yes, absolutely right. We have to do LCM here, not either HCF. Perfect. All the answers are right. Excellent. Very good. Beautiful to see that some of you are not even forgetting the units to write it in the answer. No, no, Manasvi, it's not meters. So it's not meters. The units is in centimeters. Yes, very good. Very good. Yes, absolutely right. It's okay, dear. That happens. That too happens. So it's fine. And I could see the very first answer right for this question was given by Pratik. Okay, very good. Very good. So I could see many people who were not even responding in the chat box started responding. Very nice. Beautiful. Beautiful. But still one or two are still left. I'm not a person who satisfies with one or two left. I want everything. I want everyone to answer. So good. Yes, yes, yes. Definitely, definitely. Yes, I can see that. I could sense it by your answers. Sure, fine. So here is the answer. 2520 centimeters are 25.2 meters. So we have so far revised our first chapter, discussing it with your key concepts. What are those? First, we have studied the basic arithmetic theorem. We're talking about prime factorization. Then we have seen the relation between LCM and HCF. Then we have revisited our irrational numbers. So basing on this chapter, we have covered a few questions which have lot chances to occur in your board exams. I have explained you some questions. I have made you solve some questions. Now it is a time for you to practice in your home. I have given you 5 questions on the screen. I want you all to solve these questions and come back to the next session where I'll be giving you the answers for this. For time being, it is your work to practice this. Whenever a session is done, you'll be having a gap of 2 to 3 days for every session because every session is on Tuesdays and Fridays. So in the gap that you have, I suggest you to practice the chapter which is being revised. As I've told you, we will completely utilize this buffer time of 2 months to learn maths of grade 10 completely, whether you are a basic student or you are a standard student, no matter what. We will start our revision today, and by 2 months, we would have completely covered our paper. For that, you should follow what I say. So, first chapter should be revised by everyone, and you are supposed to come to the second session. And I am always ready to clear all your doubts in your first session, first chapter. At the end of every session, your previous class doubts, I'm ready to clear it. But it's your duty, it's your job to practice the things and come back to me to the next session. Okay. And if you want, you can say, ma'am, with these 5 questions, what are the things going to happen with us? 5 questions are no more enough. Definitely, I do accept it. These are the sample pattern of questions that I'm going to tell you. But if you want to practice more questions for your board exams, I suggest you, like MTG have a complete set of books for you, which gives you enough content for practicing for your board exams. Like if you want to solve your previous year question papers, either it could be standard or basic, you can use these books. I hope you can see these books. So this is a book which talks about 15 sample papers. Okay. These 15 sample papers, you can use it. We have it for both standard and for basic. So these papers you can use for solving enough practice questions for your board exams. Still, you can go further with our champion also. So CBSE's champion with 10 solved papers we have. We have chapter-wise, topic-wise given in it. So you can use this book also for your practice. You have enough questions. Category-wise, chapter-wise, it is been divided. MCQs, assertion reasoning questions, very short answers, long answers, and case studies, everything is given. If you are more curious to practice NF content, you can go for our 100% also. So this is your, I hope you are able to see, this is 100%. So you can use this 100% book also for solving your more practicing questions. You will have hundreds and hundreds of questions in all these books, which you can use for practicing. So as I've been suggesting all these books, so you can use any of this. If you have any queries while solving questions in these books also, you can come back to us. I'm here to clear your doubts. So if not possible in the live session, directly to unmute and speak, I can even clear it with you in the chat box also. I can guide you by giving you tips and tricks in that also. So This way you can solve all the questions. You have enough practice material with you. You can go for score more. You can go for champion, CBSE champion. You can go for 100%. And we are here to guide you live in 15 sessions. So this much of practice is more than enough to be a top scorer in CBSE board. And I promise you for that. Okay. So that's it from my end, ma'am.
So students, we can end up the session now. And I hope you would have benefited from this session, from this amazing session, and learned your first chapter, real numbers. In the next chapter, we will be taking, in the next topic, I'll just share the schedule once again so you can, I'll just share my screen so you can take a screenshot of the schedule. So students, remember to join the session on time next whenever you come. So next session we will have on Tuesday, 4 to 5 p.m., 10th of December. So next session will be about polynomials. So please stay alert and join on time. And don't forget to practice the questions that ma'am had shared in the last. So just you can take the screenshot also. I'll just share it once again so that you can take the screenshot of the questions. Yeah, take the screenshot of the questions, and ma'am will reveal the answers in the next session. So stay tuned and continue. So join the session on Tuesday at 4 to 5 p.m. Okay. So thank you. We can end up it now. And students, remember, polynomial is very important topic and very important chapter for your board exams. So don't miss it. Okay. Keep practicing along with ma'am when ma'am is explaining and when she is giving you the questions. Try to solve questions, pay attention in the class. So this will definitely help you in your board exams. Okay. So all the best to all students and take care. Goodbye. See you in the next session on Tuesday at 4 p.m. Okay. Thank you.